What's up, guys? Welcome back to Your Lake Fork Guide. Hopefully we don't get too much highway noise here. We're going to do an East Texas Bass Stories episode today. Top 5's coming up a little later in the video. It's going to be at the end of the video today because I'm so excited to get to this part first. You guys see Lake Fork behind me back there? We're at Highway 17 and the Little Mustang Bridge. We're at the tackle factory. This is where the Flutter spoon was invented. This is the building right here, right here behind y'all right now is where the Flutter spoon was invented. We're fixing to go in here and talk to the man that created one of the best big fish baits that ever has been created. So y'all stay tuned. We're about to interview Mr. Joe Spates. What are you doing, old man?
Oh, just putting some baits out.
What's up, brother?
Oh.
What is that?
What is that? That is the famous.
I told you we were going to talk flutter spoons. There it is, right there. Just a couple. Just a smidge. How you been, brother?
You have been good. You?
Ain't seen you, but it's good to see you.
Oh, good to see you.
Yeah. You going to talk to us a little bit today? You mind if we talk to you about flutter spoons?
Let's talk about flutter.
Talk about flutter spoons. Joe, man, it's good to see you.
It's good to have you here.
I've been coming in here for a long time, haven't I?
It's been a long time.
When I first moved here, I would always see this, and I drove by it 3 or 4 times my first few trips to the lake. And one day I drove by here, and I seen that the open sign was on. I'd been wanting to stop in. I stopped in, and I think we talked for about 3 hours.
About 3 hours.
We just talked and talked.
Yep.
It was such an interesting conversation because I literally walked in here. I had no idea. I thought it was just a mom and pop tackle store on Lake Fork. Little did I know, I was walking into the Mad Hatters.
The Mad Hatters, yeah.
The Willy Wonka factory of bass lures on Lake Fork. It's a very neat place, and I've always enjoyed coming here. And Joe is just one of the most nicest guys to talk to, and he's got some really cool stories. And we're going to talk about one of them today. We're going to talk to you today about how the flutter spoon came about, because you're the one that invented it. You started the whole thing. If you guys don't know, if you're really into bass fishing, there's no doubt that you know all about a flutter spoon. You know all about what it's done and how much of a big fish bait it is and how well it works. The cat's been out of the bag for a while now. Everybody that's anybody out there in the bass fishing world has flutter spoons in their tackle box. But there was a time when that wasn't the case.
That's true.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And I guess I'll just kind of let you take it from here. Talk to us about, let's go from the very beginning when you were just starting to tinker around with it before anybody knew what it was. And I know you got some good stories. Talk to us a little bit about that time when you had it ready to go, but you didn't tell anybody.
That's true. That's true. The flutter spoon, actually, I and another friend were fishing down on, we were down on Cheney Point, matter of fact. And we were fishing, bass fishing, and
Cheney Point is a point on Lake Fork.
That's on Lake Fork.
Yeah.
And a gizzard shad about 12, 14 inches long come jumping out of the water. And a bass looked like it was about 3 feet long, was chasing it.
Yep.
And I told the man there with me, I said, I need something that looks like that gizzard shad. It's obvious that that's what's for dinner today.
That's right.
And
still is today.
yes. He said, what do you think that would be? And I said, some kind of spoon, a long spoon. And we went ahead and fished, and I came back, and I literally ordered every spoon I could get my hands on, every catalog I could find, and I just could not find what I wanted. And so I finally came up with the Flutter spoon, but it was a real thin version of the Flutter spoon. and it was real lightweight. Now I caught a lot of fish, but the rate of fall on it was only about, it was slow, about, it took about a second to fall a half a foot.
Wow. Wow.
It was it was half the thickness of this spoon. And I was catching a lot of fish on it, but I knew fishermen are not very patient. Most fishermen they want to fish. They don't want to wait on a bait. So I took the original spoon, and even though I was catching a lot of fish with it, I started adding lead tape to the back of it.
Wow.
To get it to fall. I wanted it to fall about a foot a second.
Sure.
And when I got that enough lead tape on that it would fall properly, I was still catching fish with it. And so I knew what I wanted would work. And that's when I calculated the density, the thickness of the spoon that I needed to accomplish that fall rate. Well,
see, Joe's been out here in the woods for a long time. He kind of sounds like just a good old boy redneck, but he's smart. There's a lot of math that went into this thing, right?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
We went along, and I was catching fish every trip. I was catching fish, and it was just phenomenal. And I was scared to death I was going to lose my prototype, my very first one. And so I finally gathered up enough coins to purchase the first 200 of my blanks, and I brought it back, and now I had these for 2 years.
2 years
before I put it on the market, and I actually debated whether to put it on the market or whether to turn pro. It was that effective, and,
wow.
And I was catching a lot of big fish, and it was quite a long time before I really released the spoon.
Yeah.
I built 200 the first batch that I got. I built 200, and at that time I was actually painting them, and
these are the ones that I still come in here and try to beg these off, and these are the ones that I like to get my hands on. Are these old ones right here? I love these.
This is the original spoon that I gave to Kelly Jordan.
Let's see that. Let me show you
And
that.
he kept it a secret for a year and a half. And that spoon has, Kelly kept telling people, tell Joe you want the blue and gold one. And that's a painted spoon. And paint is really hard to keep on these plated spoons.
Mm-hmm. Kelly kept it, for anybody that, if you don't know who Kelly Jordan is an elite series angler, one of the best fishermen in the world, has been for a very long time now, but there's a history here.
Yeah, I've known Kelly.
He was coming in here, kind of like I did, right?
Yeah.
Kelly, hanging on your counter talking to you.
I met Kelly 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was a young man. I'm not even sure if he had a boat yet, but he was a fishing fool. Boy, I tell you what, he would get out there and he would fish every day if he could.
Yeah.
And he used to hang on my counter, and he was like a sponge. Everything you said, he just sucked it right up.
Yeah.
He didn't miss a detail.
Yeah.
And
well, I know he was kind of one of the first ones out there, as far as traveling around the country fishing competitively. At that time he was kind of the only one that had that deal in his box.
He was the only one.
And I know he was real protective over it for a long time, just like you were. But I think there was a TV show.
Well, for a year and a half, he kept it pretty secret.
Yeah.
The Toyota tournament that was held on Lake Fork, Kelly won that. Kelly and his team won that. Lance Vick was on his team.
Right.
And they had won that tournament. And Fish Fishburne was asking Kelly, asking everybody, well, what did you catch your fish on? And nobody was talking. Nobody would tell. And Fish said, well, we'll just walk down to the boats and see. And he literally took the camera and walked down to the boats. And first rod he picked up was out of Kelly Jordan's boat, and it had one of these 6-inch spoons on it. And when he held it up, the camera was on it and the big screen on the stage and everything. And he said, oh my God, they're fishing with big deep sea salmon stuff, And when they held it up and it went up on the TV, somebody in the crowd yelled, "That's Big Joe's spoon." That's where the name came from. That's Big Joe's spoon.
That's the name to this day. That's pretty dang good, because that's the name to this day.
To this day, that's what.
So Fishburne is the culprit.
Fishburne was the culprit that pulled that up.
You know, it's been out for many years now. The secret's been out for several years now. And there's a lot of other flutter spoons on the market. And we all know, you know, Strike King has one. And Lake Fork Tackle used to have one. And a bunch of different companies. Nichols, everybody's got their flutter spoon. But I'm telling you guys something. The deal is, this man is the one that invented it. He's the one, like we were talking about earlier, did all those math problems and got that weighting just right and got that rate of fall just so. And there's not another one that's made exactly like his that I know of. And so for that reason, this is the one you want. And Joe, Joe doesn't have a website, but if you come by Lake Fork or right here on Highway 17 at the Little Mustang Bridge, it's the only building here is Tackle Factory. Pretty easy to see the sign on the road. We'll put the number up in the video so that you guys can have a phone number. You can call him, and you do shipping. You ship orders.
I do.
He'll ship you spoons, whatever else that you might want to buy. But if you want to fish a flutter spoon, you want to learn how to fish a flutter spoon, do yourself a favor and make sure that you got the right flutter spoon, because they're not cheap, but that's the one you want. Don't go wasting your money on all them knockoffs.
The spoon's been one of the most copied baits, and I suppose that's the ultimate form of flattery you can get.
They work everywhere.
Yeah.
They work across the country. Brent Chapman, I don't know whose brand or what flutter spoon he was throwing, but Brent Chapman won an Elite Series event on Toledo Bend flutter spoon. Kelly Jordan, I know he won one of the match fishing type deals back when they first started.
Yeah, the
on
Ultimate
Kentucky
Match
Lake.
Tournament.
Yeah, on Kentucky, the Ultimate Match Fishing. Yeah, on Kentucky, was it Kentucky Lake?
It was on Kentucky Lake.
Kentucky Lake, he won that.
26 casts or caught 26 fish in a row, and it's all on film.
26 for 26 on film, and I think you got some phone calls. Like I know you told me a story one time. You answer the phone, and the guy goes, "You go hello," and the guy goes, "I'm not sure if you know who this is, but this is Larry Dixon."
That's exactly right.
And Joe's like, "Yeah, I think I know who you are."
I know who you are. Everybody knows who you are.
You get the same call from all those guys that were fishing against Kelly that he just thumped their tail with it. But yeah, Kentucky Lake, Toledo Bend. I personally know my good friend, another guide out here, Jay Kendrick. He went down to do some scouting on Falcon this last year before some summer guiding trips. Took out the big spoon down there, the Big Joe flutter spoon. Went down there and caught, I think it was an 11-pounder. It was either 10 or 11. It was a double-digit fish on Lake Falcon. So, South Texas, Mexico, East Texas, Kentucky, it don't matter. Just go throw. If you want to throw a flutter spoon, if you got some ledge fish that are eating big bait, get you a Big Joe flutter spoon and get after their tails.
It has been a phenomenal bait. I've caught my prototype in that first 2 years. I bet I caught 1,000 fish with it.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
Well, very cool. Can't thank you enough for this.
Well, thank you.
I know I've heard most of this before, but I want to share it with them. And you know what? I don't really ever get tired of hearing it because it's such a cool deal. So it's great to see you again, bud.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys watching today. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up for me. If you want to see more like it, see some more of our on the water stuff, be sure to hit subscribe to notify you every time we do a new video. That way you never miss one. And give Big Joe a call. Tell him the phone. What's the phone number?
903-765-3398.
I almost have it memorized by now.
You should.
We'll see you guys next time on Your Lake Fork Guide. What is up, fellas? You guys ready for this weekend? You ready to go catch some giant East Texas bass? Or wherever you are. Maybe it's South Florida, maybe it's California, maybe it's somewhere in the Midwest. Either way, it's March. It's time to go catch some big bass. If you're here in Northeast Texas, you're fishing Lake Fork, I got the top 5 baits coming up for you in this segment right here. Let's get into it right now. All right, first and foremost, man, we're right in the meat of sight fishing. It is fully on. It will be on for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Major spawning going on. That's just going to continue to increase over the next few weeks. We're in the prime time for that. If you like to sight fish, now's your time. I like to sight fish. My favorite sight fishing bait, if you've been watching, you know, Lake Fork Tackle Hyper Freak. That big paddle tail wobbling all around, thumping all over the place, really seems to get their attention from a long distance. So that's number one. Number two is in those same areas where those beds are, I'm going to take and wacky rig this stick bait. That's that Smash Tech Smash Stick, the 5-inch stick bait from Smash Tech Custom Baits. Wacky rigging. The deal is, though, guys, just like when you're bed fishing, when you're sight fishing, and you've got to hold that bait in their face and make them react and make them react. It's a little bit different here because you can't see them, but you want to throw that wacky worm out there and just soak it and fish it really methodically and slow. Imagine that fish staring at that bait and reacting to it in your head, because that's going to be, sometimes that's how long it takes for them to bite. They'll stare at it for a long time before they bite it at times. So be super slow and methodical when you're working that wacky worm. I only fish that when I know I'm in an area that I know there's some beds. So, all right, third is when I am searching. Let's say that I'm just, easing down a bait nice and slow, looking for beds, and I want to throw something to fish and search for some bites while I'm doing that. I'm using this 6-inch Smash Minnow from Smash Tech. This bait right here, normally I have the convict on because I like to look for a big bite on the swim baits. This bait is not nearly as wide as the convict. It's a much thinner profile, especially from over the top like that. It's not nearly as bulky, but it's pretty long. It's a pretty good sized bait. As you can see, there's a 6-inch bait, long bait. It's been getting some bites. It's new. It's got a little different swimming action to it. It's new to me. The tail has a tight wiggle, but the body has a lot more roll than the convict does, and I kind of like it. It's a different looking swim, but when I'm going down looking for beds, I'm going to be throwing that swim bait out in front of me and just chunking and winding while I'm looking over here. And trust me, when they hit one of them, you'll know. You'll feel them. They'll bump it a little bit, and you'll feel a nick here and a nick there. But when they get that bait and it's time to set the hook, there is no doubt. They knock the absolute fire out of that bait when they eat it. All right, fourth, I told you guys about this bait for the first time last week. It's that time of year where I start throwing this bait a lot, and as the spawn goes on and we get more post-spawn fish, it just becomes more prevalent every day. This is the Spro Popping Frog, and I like to start the mornings with this in my hands a lot of times, and I want to throw this bait right up there on the bank. I want to throw it wherever I think they're bedding. I want to throw it past there. Maybe it's on top of some grass, some flooded bushes, wherever it is. I want to throw past their bed and work this thing very quietly and softly back to their bed. I like to use a quiet walk this time of year on that popping frog. And fifth, this is something new for you guys this week, and this is similar to the frog. This is more for the more open water. I like this even better than the frog if I don't have any cover in the water. If they're bedding in an area that doesn't have a lot of flooded grass or bushes, then I'll pick up a 1/4 ounce Lake Fork Tackle Magic Popper. I like this translucent color this time of year when they're bedding. I like something they can't really get a very good look at, because you're going to work this bait really slow and methodical. Throw this thing around those beds, work it painstakingly slow around those beds first thing in the morning. You'd be surprised how many times one of those big ones will come up and just kind of nip at it or just suck on it, and they'll end up getting one of those treble hooks, and you catch maybe the biggest fish of the day in the first few minutes of the trip on a little bitty 1/4 ounce popper. So fire that thing around in those areas where they're bedding. Be surprised what'll bite that. That's it for the top 5. That's the top 5. If you guys noticed, there's one search bait, one moving bait. There's a lot of baits in here. Even the frog and the popper, I'm fishing them very methodical and very slow. These fish are stationary this time of year. They're defending an area. That's the fish that I like to fish for. I like to target the big fish on the beds and use these slow moving baits in my sight fishing techniques. Hey, Timothy Huckabee, thank you for the comment, buddy. I appreciate that. Little YouTube comment right there. But fish very methodical and slow when you know you're in an area that they have beds in. And be real thorough, guys. You can make 100 casts, and it might be the 100th and first that gets the bite of the fish of a lifetime this time of year. So if you know they're in that area, slow down. Use these baits. Get after them. Catch them all, the easy ones twice. Also, one more thing, guys. If you're looking for a new rod, if you're looking for some new rods, I told you guys last week I was fishing with limit rods. I've had them in my hands for a couple weeks. I've got to make several trips with them. Got to put them in several different people's hands. Customers have fished them. So these limit rods, they're for real. Like, no doubt, they are legitimate. They have great components. They have great materials that they're made of. I'm not real well versed on all the scientific stuff and the different materials, but I do know this. the materials that these are made out of and the components they're made out of are very similar to some rods that are more than double the price of these. The retail on these is $129 to $149. They're selling them at the Lake Fork Tackle Store there in Emory, Texas. So be sure you go check them out. If you're in Emory and you're looking for a new rod, before you buy anything, look at this, because for the price, you cannot beat these Limit rods. Limit 5 series are the ones that I'm using, and I absolutely am in love with these rods. I'm so happy that I decided to go with these. And this is not just me being the pro staffer, because I'm going to tell you something, guys. There is no chance. I love the rods I had before. There is zero chance that I would have given them up if these rods weren't for real. I had a great feeling about them. I felt good about it going into them. Now that I've had them for a couple weeks, I can't say enough. Check out Limit rods. Good product. That's it, man. Hope y'all enjoyed that. How about Joe Spates, the guy that invented the Flutter spoon? I can't imagine a much better bass story than the man who invented one of the best big fish innovations of all time, telling you about that whole process. I really enjoyed talking to him today. Joe's a friend of mine. Love sitting down and talking with him. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. He's going to be on the channel a couple more times coming up over the future. We got some other interviews we're going to do with him, so be sure you're checking us out. Subscribe to the channel so you guys will get notifications when those future videos come up. If you like it, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. If you got a suggestion, something that you want to see on the channel, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, what you want to see. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all watching. We will see you next time. Watch out. Toledo Bend. Toledo Bend is coming your way. We're going to film for some days on Toledo Bend. I got a trip with some buddies down there. There's going to be a lot of jokes. Probably have some beeps in this one. Everybody will get harassed relentlessly, and it's Toledo Bend, so there's some bass that are going to get harassed relentlessly too. So we hope you guys are looking forward to that. It's coming up soon. I'm so excited about it. I can't stand it. You guys will be seeing those videos here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So look for those Toledo Bend videos the first or second week of April. And other than that, we'll see you next time. We appreciate you watching as always. Hit that like for me if you like this video. You want to see some more, you want to make sure you catch Joe's next interview, hit subscribe, and we will see you next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide. Thanks, guys.